Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you guys all for your patience with us as we had a delayed start this evening. We're always rushed in the evenings to conduct all the businesses that we take care of in our preliminary executive session, but I'd like to be the first to welcome you to our November 4th public board meeting of the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners. On behalf of my fellow board commissioners, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight here in public, down at North Avenue, also online. I want to thank our staff here at Baltimore City Schools, our parents, and our students. So I appreciate everybody's participation in the wellness of our young folk. I'll now read a roll call of the board to identify who is present and on the call. Please identify yourself first before speaking for the record. I'll go through the roll call for each vote this evening. Vice Chair Parker.
Vice Chair Parker, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Ames Messenger. Thank you. Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Coy is absent this evening. Commissioner Esposito.
Commissioner Esposito, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Kenyatta Bay, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Mohammed.
Mohammed, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Redding Lollinger.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Scott Woodruff, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons.
Simmons, present.
Thank you. Commissioner Slater Harrington. Thank you. And I'm also present. Is there a motion to reopen tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Motion.
Esposito.
I'll take Esposito for the first and Ames Messenger for the second. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Yes.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito.
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Lollinger.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff.
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington, and I'm in favor. This motion passes. Now I'd like to welcome the JROTC for Reach Partnership School. I'd like to ask my board colleagues to stand in recognition of tonight's opening ceremonies.
Face. Freeze, then. Arms. Sir, with that Captain Mount, Reach Partnership School, Army, JROTC. Wish to present color, sir.
Permission granted.
Thank you, sir. Order, arms. Colors reverse, march. Flag, 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 right, flag, flag, flag. Color guard, oh. Freeze, then, arms. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Colors, post. Ready, cut.
And thank you so much to Reach Partnership School. Is there a motion to approve the prior open session minutes?
So moved. Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Kenyatta Bay. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Yes.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Coy, I'm sorry, Commissioner Esposito.
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay.
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed.
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Lollinger.
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff. She's absent for just a moment. And Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington. She's absent for a moment, and I'm in favor. This motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the closed session summaries?
So moved, Kenyatta Bay.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second. Esposito.
Thank you. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker.
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger.
Yeah.
Commissioner Chicas Guzman.
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay,
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed,
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Wallinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
and I'm in favor. This motion passes. So once again, I'd like to welcome everybody to our November 4th Public Board meeting. We're going to split up our normal comments into 3 sections tonight. I believe I'm kicking it over to Commissioner Esposito for our Native American Heritage Month remarks this evening. So we'll start with Commissioner Esposito.
Thank you, Chair. Native American Heritage Month is a time to acknowledge and pay tribute to wisdom, spirituality, and resilience that contribute to the foundation of this country. As a commissioner and proud member of an Indigenous community, Native American Heritage Month holds deep meaning for me, my family, and my community. I want to encourage everyone to support Baltimore American Indian Center and attend the 49th annual powwow with grand entry starting at noon. And I wanted to reflect on my first graduation experience as a commissioner. I spent my first graduation outside of the district, speaking at the graduation for Native American Lifelines, but my first graduation within the district, there was a moment that I'll never forget. One of our students was joined on stage by their parents and elders and wrapped in a blanket. I was brought to tears because then and now, many students are being told they cannot wear regalia or practice ceremony at graduation. But here in Baltimore City Public Schools, we made space for culture. We honored identity. We affirmed that our students deserve to show up fully as who they are. So to our enrolled relatives, both state and federally recognized, our detribalized, our reconnecting, our Afro-Indigenous, our Two-Spirit, and all of our relatives, we see you, we value you, and we're grateful for what you bring to this community. To every family here tonight and across Baltimore City, Wado, Ehehe, Wapilatanka, Nyawa, Kwanokohi, Biwa, Miigwech, thank you for all that you are and all that you bring to our community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you honoring the Native American Heritage Month. As all of you know, I'm both a biracial male, so my mom on her maternal side is both Comanche and Choctaw. My grandmother grew up on the Comanche Reservation in Oklahoma. And the work I do professionally as well, my 9-to-5 job, I support the children who attend the Bureau of Indian Education, which are the federally recognized schools operated by the government for 84 tribes, 185 students across 23 states. There's no other school system in the United States that has such a broad charge across a lot of different jurisdictions, but these tend to be children who attend schools in urban areas as well as rural areas. And the numbers of our Native American ancestry continue to diminish over time, but the mission is still really strong to support our tribal communities and the education that they deserve, both in public schools as well as in our federally funded schools. So I appreciate you lifting that work up today. Thank you. For the second part of our of the board chair comments this evening, is focusing on the CEO search. We're going to turn to that. As most of you know, we released the job description this past week for the CEO search. We wanted to provide additional updates on the committee engagement report for you this evening. Not sure who is sharing our slides for us. So Patricia's going to provide an update. So while we wait for the slides to come up, I want to thank, on behalf of the board, the entire committee for showing up in our committee engagement touch points that allowed us to describe where we are as a district and the touch points that led us to our job description. There were over 4,200 touch points that comprised our community engagement report this past session. So we started off with a telephone town hall led by our mayor. We had a number of community gatherings. We had interview and focus groups and our student community survey. So I'll wait just a moment to see if Patricia can pull that up for us.
Chair, just give me one moment. I will have it up in 1 second.
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge our partners at Alma Advisory Group for their support in putting this together. So, and thank the mayor for kind of taking the opportunity to kick us off to lead the telephone town hall, which was an important gathering. So Mayor Scott was able to host about 3,000 participants in those initial gatherings that allowed us to have conversations openly and honestly about questions that the community had. Our next set of community gatherings were in person. So we had 5 in person, 1 virtual, that had 230 attendees. Our interview and focus groups, we hosted over 44 interviews and focus groups with 140 participants, and we'll show on an upcoming slide more on those details. And then our student and community survey that we had about 2,700 student participants when we broke that out, comprising the majority of our majority of our community survey feedback. Give this just a moment. Thank you so much, Patricia. So we'll go to slide number 3 in the presentation. This is probably one of the questions that we got the most in terms of who actually participated in the focus groups. So we had about 12 different groups that were invited to that. And what you'll see on slide 3 in just a moment is, and I recognize fully that this is really small, but this information is going to be available on our website as well. There we go. A little bit still. So among the 12 different groups that we had government, our government agencies that participated. So the mayor and city council, state legislators, and MSDE, our bargaining units, our staff groups here within city schools that comprised of the CEO's cabinet, district leaders, school staff, school leaders, and school-based staff, as well as teachers, are a really important part of that. Our charters, our community school-led agencies that among that included the movement team, the United Way, YMCA of Maryland, our philanthropic group that comprised a number of large and small foundations, and recognizing that this was just a small sampling of the philanthropic network. Our youth groups from ASCBC to SGA, YAR, and other groups. Our advocacy partners, such as ACLU and Strong Schools Maryland. Our teacher pipeline groups, such as Teach for America and Baltimore City Teaching Residency. College and career readiness programs, ranging from iMentor to BCCC, our higher education partners, and our high impact community partners such as We Are Us, Black Girls Vote, the Associated Jewish Charities, and other groups across the space. These are the groups that were invited to participate, and not everyone came, but we recognize that there were far more interest than we were able to accommodate in all of our focus groups, so we were able to pare it down to these 12 different groups. Move forward to the next slide. I want to share just a couple of information items that we learned in the process. So strengths to build on that comprised our job description that we had was that there was strong appreciation, support of educators and staff in our system that go above and beyond every day for city school students. Many of our stakeholder groups took the time to recognize the important and vital role that public and private partnerships play in supporting our young people, as well as everything from facilities to program expansions and innovations in our work. And our active family and community engagement through PTAs and community schools that build trust and family connections. We had 4 areas for continued improvement on our next slide that we want to lift up. So recognizing that there's far more work to do in this baton pass that the board has been describing around equitable resource distribution, systemic inequities in our facilities, our transportation networks, and access to high quality programming, recognizing that these items have come a long way. Strengthening academics and closing gaps, recognizing that improved literacy in math through early intervention and evidence-based instruction, CTE, culturally relevant, rigorous, and engaging curriculum, and system-wide learning. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in detail this evening. And improved overall operations, including human capital and responsive to that. I want to take an opportunity, since we did highlight earlier that student perspectives were a really important part on our next slide in our focus group conversations that we've had and in the feedback that we've gotten from the board, that the board leveraged. Our students shared 3 top priorities for a CEO to focus on. So that's focusing on activities like sports, field trips, helping students with student attendance and mental health and safety and well-being, and students receiving high quality access to tutoring. Also, our students were able to share more information about what students feel like their schools are doing well that we wanted to take into consideration, and things to promote like extracurriculars, caring, supporting staff, and student supports. Our students were able to provide far more information on things they wanted to say about our next CEO. So making sure that they're kind, they're accessible, they're listening to students, that they provide opportunities to revisit policies, including those around discipline, and mobile phones, as we know our teachers love where we are with our mobile phone policy. So lastly, we want to make sure that we took all of this information on our next slide into two main buckets that describe the job description that you'll see on City Schools website that our candidates are starting to apply to. So one describes the key responsibilities, the what, and then the key competencies, the how of carrying out those responsibilities. So distilling all of that down, we see areas like strategic leadership, academic achievement and student success, talent management, community engagement, among others. And then the competencies that the board will look at focus on visionary and strategic leadership, effective communication, instructional and operational stewardship, among others. On our next slide, if we move forward in tonight's presentation, is why this matters. Oops, we have one additional slide. Okay, so we'll use this information. There's four main components that undergird how we described our job description. So one, working with our partners at Alma Advisory, industry best practice from among many searched nationally and locally. Two, board input. Three, the legal and human capital, board policy, and state requirements. And then lastly, community input and feedback. The information that we have from community feedback won't be only used and leveraged just for the job description, but we've highlighted other buckets here that you'll see that the board will leverage that feedback from interviewing, candidate selection, transition, onboarding, and strengthening our governance responsibility as a board. And lastly, I want to give just an update on our CEO search timeline. So we are here in November where we're starting to collect applications for candidates who are applying. Our pipeline continues to build. We'll be interviewing candidates coming up in January and February. And you'll see as we move through each and every one of these stages, a commitment to ensuring that we bring more information to the public on where we stand and where we head from here. And as we wrap this up in this very first part of the community engagement report, I want to remind the public that this information is our preliminary and first look at the information coming out of the community engagement report. We have a high-level set of slides that are available on our website, and we'll be providing more detailed information coming out of community engagement since we've highlighted how else we'll leverage that information. On behalf of the entire board, we want to thank our community for the input and the feedback that the board will use throughout this process to guide the CEO selection. So thank you immensely. Before we move forward, are there any comments from our board on anything shared tonight? Hearing none, transition to our third part of board chair comments, which will go over to our vice chair.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone for our November meeting. This evening, we have a special honor. We are proud to recognize our CEO, Dr. Sonia Brookins Santelises, who was recently named the 2026 Maryland Superintendent of the Year by the Public Schools Superintendent Association of Maryland. Yes. This is one of the highest honors in Maryland education. It reflects not only Dr. Santelises' leadership, but the progress and spirit of the Baltimore City's public school system as a whole. Before we play a short video celebrating her work, I want to share a few reflections on this recognition, what this recognition means for our district. Each year, this award honors a superintendent who demonstrates excellence in leadership, communication, and community engagement. Dr. Santelises embodies these qualities and more. Her vision has guided Baltimore City Schools through a period of academic focus, reform, and renewed belief in our young people. This honor recognizes not just her excellence, but the collective strength of our students, educators, families, and partners who makes it possible every day. This video that we are about to show includes many of the CEO's achievements, as well as insights into what makes her the best school superintendent in Maryland. Congratulations, Dr. S.
So we may need some additional sound up. Is there sound?
I
on this?
am Sonia Brookins Santalesis, the proud Chief Executive Officer for Baltimore City Public Schools. And this role has absolutely been the highlight of my career. It is hard work, but it is the people's work. It is teamwork, and it is essential work. I get up every single day with no question about why I do what I do. The young people in Baltimore, one of the things I say is I am a mama bear extraordinaire, not only for my 3 girls, but for the 77,000 students in Baltimore City. They are the reason why I can bring a team of amazing people together, because they're not here just for me. They too have the heart of our young people at the center of what they do. We're one of the top urban large school districts in terms of growth and literacy this year after the pandemic. We now exceed our pre-pandemic levels. We're very proud of that, given our focus on literacy. We are also proud of the fact that we have more African American and Latino students in Baltimore City Public Schools who are taking advanced placement classes and passing those classes, through the AP exam than ever before in the city of Baltimore. The great part about being in city schools is knowing that this team works hard on behalf of our community every day. And I will tell you, I am never mistaken. If it were not for this team across our district, we would not be making the progress that we're making. So thank you, Team City Schools.
So I just want to take just a point of privilege to thank Dr. Santelisa's program leadership. This is a year that she reminds me constantly that the pedal continues to push harder and faster in this last year of her leadership that has been unwavering since day one, since she's joined the district. So we appreciate just your leadership, the steadfast hand that you've led the district with, the innovations, the opportunity to push forward to great results that we'll talk a little bit about later on tonight in your remarks. But this has been a tremendous honor to work alongside you in the last 4 years that I've been on the board, but especially in this past year. So we thank you for your leadership. Before we move on, do we have any other additional comments from our board colleagues? Commissioner Chicas-Guzman.
Student Commissioner remarks.
Before we go into your comments, I won't forget yours. Anything additional?
Yeah, I just wanted to, again, both congratulate you, Dr. Santelises, but also because of the nature of my work, I get to have conversations with people nationally. And I think it's important, in this bubble in Baltimore, we don't always know what people are talking about out there, but the thing that they're talking about is that your leadership is extraordinary. And, it is the average tenure of a superintendent, an urban superintendent, is reduced now to 2.4 years. And I think one of the things that has been a testament to your leadership has been your tenure, which is going to be 10 years by the time you're done. And I think what the piece people don't understand is, for a lot of folks in the field, folks who were tenured superintendents, COVID took them out. People retired within the year or two after COVID because it was such a difficult period, but you've been here for years doing the work. So I just applaud you, and this is well deserved. Congratulations.
Yes, I wanted to say, first of all, congratulations. I know, but there's something else that's very, very important that you represent. And that is, and I think I said this in exec meeting upstairs, but it's still, I wanted people to know that the face of education is changing. How we attack it, how we look at it, how we restructure it, how our communities gather around it to survive, is going to take innovative leadership. As the innovative leadership that we've watched in the last 10 years, to taking the risk, sometimes to taking the falls. You know, sometimes it's the laughter, and sometimes it's just standing there silently and feeling. But you've done all that, and you will do more because you will write the books for the future of education. Thank you.
So many more opportunities to celebrate just the accomplishments and achievements. And we thank you so much once again for your leadership. Any additional comments? Commissioner Mohammed.
I just want to take the time to acknowledge the grace that you've shown during this process over the past year to ensure that the district is trending upwards. And I think that that is really important to highlight. That as we highlight the success that you have had in Baltimore, I want to, along with that, highlight the impact and the success that our students are having along with you. That your success is aligned with the success of our students. So thank you for your success. And I think that this award is an opportunity for all of us to recognize our students along with Dr. Santelises, because her success is the success of Baltimore City's young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. I don't know if you want to add any additional comments before we move forward.
No, the only thing I will say, and there will be many times left to say, but I had one of my neighbors say to me when she read some of the comments, she said, "Why are you always talking about everybody else, right? When people are celebrating you?" And I said, because I'm very clear, and I loved what the commissioners all said, but I'm very clear about the piece that Commissioner Mohammed ended on, and that is that there is no way that one individual person can move the trajectory for our young people. I have been very clear that this role is a role, and you wear it, quite frankly, like you wear a coat. And when your time to pass it on comes, you realize it was actually not about you, but it was about the honor of serving in the position and having people who, even though they don't always agree with you on everything, at the award banquet, the cabinet members who were there were very polite. When one of the descriptors was, "Oh, and Dr. Santelises, you're so kind." And I could see the look on cabinet's faces saying, "Oh, not always." But people get up and they want to do the work, and they want to do the work on behalf of young people, and they take the push and they push you back. And you have the privilege of being able to teach, but to also be taught. And so I said to my neighbor, it's not just that, I don't like celebrations and all that, because I do, but I am just incredibly humbled by the team of people centrally at schools. There are principals, there are experienced, excellent leaders who on the side have told me, "I would have retired long ago if you were not the CEO." And then I look and I see the achievement of their schools and the growth. It is why I get up. It is why I love, and I said it in the video, and I will say it again. I said it at Council of Great City Schools. I said it before policymakers last week, and I said it before my colleagues, superintendents. I am a quintessential mama bear. My three girls will tell you, I push them hard, but if anybody comes for them, I am right there. And I love doing that on behalf of 77,000 kids who every day in any corner of our district prove naysayers wrong, whether they are just coming back from juvenile justice or whether they are at some of our top performing schools and end up in elite institutions tutoring other kids. And I told the story to the Poly team today as they got the blue ribbon that my own nephew, who is in one of the top engineering programs in the country at Cornell, texted me and said, Auntie, you will never guess who my senior NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, mentor is. And he is a Baltimore City Poly graduate. And I was so proud to know that my mentor was from your school district. And it's those stories. It's those kids. It is why I do the work. It is why this is the best job I have ever had. And it is why it will continue after me, because we are not done, because we are not at a pinnacle, because we have students with disabilities who need more. We have a deluge of multilingual learners who not only need to master content, but they need to know that they are safe and they are loved and they are valued. We have parents who come to us with the very best they can offer, and in the middle of SNAP benefits being just butchered, in the midst of the safety net that is under attack, they still every single day get up and give us their best, the seed of their family lineage, their letters to the future, where they place their hopes and dreams, even when their own lives are filled with struggle and obstacle and, frankly, less than what they wanted to be. But they get up every day, and as imperfect as a system as we are, they continue, and God knows sometimes I don't know why they continue to place their trust in us. And that we have people on the senior team and in schools who could be doing this work any other place. And there will be a time when I will go through the cabinet, but I am telling you, we have future superintendents sitting on this cabinet who won't necessarily be here, but they will be somewhere because they care enough to make change. So we are not there. I will look afar. I will be proud. But Baltimore City Public Schools, you lift your head high. You don't take your foot off the pedal. You push, not because I'm in the seat, because I willingly pass the coat to the next person. But know that we do this for kids, and anything less than the best that we want for our own kids is not good enough. And I lay my head on my pillow every night knowing we did not get everything I wanted to get, but I will tell you one thing, I sleep sound because I have fought for the right of every young person in Baltimore City to have the kind of education that I want for my three girls. And anything, any other goal is insufficient. So I am proud, I am not satisfied, but I am blessed and I am thankful. So thank you to the board. I want to thank the board chair and vice chair just for being there and representing the full board that night. But thank you for the privilege, and it's one that I don't take lightly. And I will be cheering you on because this is not where we are stopping. Thank you.
Congratulations again. And this is a hard act to follow for our student commissioner who's up next.
Could we get the presentation up? Is it up? Okay. Hey, hi everybody. I hope you like my presentation. How are you guys? I hope you guys are all doing well. Today's presentation is going to be, please, the slide before that. Anyway, today's presentation is going to mainly be focused around students and SGA advisors. So next slide, please. Sorry, her speech really got to me. It's okay. So for upcoming events, the Maryland Association of Student Councils, also known as MASC, is hosting their Fall Leadership Conference on Saturday, November 22nd at Northwest High School in Montgomery County. Registration closes tomorrow. So students, please ask your SGA advisor if they have registered you in. Check-in is from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. The event time is from 9:30 to 4 p.m. And at the leadership conference, students will meet and network with other student leaders from all levels, state, regional, and local. Students will also participate or present workshops about leadership and professional development. Next slide, please. Registration for this event is closed, just to let everybody know, but the Associated Student Congress of Baltimore City, also known as ASCBC, is hosting the General Assembly on November 17th of 2025 at the Professional Development Center, 2500 East Northland Parkway. Check-in is from 9:30 to 10 a.m., so please be there on time. And event time is from 9:30 to 1:15. Make sure you apply for the CEO transition workshop that I'll be presenting. And for updates, the student info submission form is officially launched. Students, please scan the QR code. Oh, please scan that QR code right there to share questions, thoughts, or concerns related to anything board-wise. This could be policies, regulations, if you have any questions, things you want to bring to the board that I could bring for you. It's open to all students, elementary, middle, and high school. Your input is really crucial and important, especially right now. And for next slide. Looking forward, through ASCBC's Communications Committee, we'll be sending reintroduction emails soon to SGA advisors to share with our student leaders. We will be recapping leadership in all levels, recapping and introducing new leadership in all levels, share contact information, and reintroduce ASCBC overall. Our goal is to assist SGAs directly and connect leadership with them to uplift student needs and strengths in advocacy across the district and in the government level. That's all. Thank you so much for listening in.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. We really appreciate that. We're looking forward to ASCBC General Assembly this year, and I encourage all my board colleagues to attend. Moving forward in our agenda this evening, for acknowledgement of gifts and donations, the board approves a monetary donation from an anonymous donor in the amount of $7,540 to Dallas F. Nicholas Senior Elementary School for the Literacy Intervention Program and Lexia Core 5. Thank you so much for that donation. Our next item up this evening is approval of the Personnel, Employment, and Payroll and Appeals, Hearings, and Quasi-Judicial. Is there a motion to approve the PEP and quasi-judicial matters?
So moved, Esposito.
Thank you, Commissioner Esposito. Is there a second?
Second, Scott Woodruff.
Thank you so much. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Ames Messenger?
Yes.
Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed?
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Wallinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Slater Harrington? And I am in favor. Thank you so much. This motion passes. And now I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Santelises for CEO comment.
Thank you very much, Chair. I appreciate that. Commissioner Chicas Guzman, you did a fabulous job. I would like to invite Chief Emily Nielsen for this evening's PEP agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Santelises. Good evening, commissioners. For tonight's PEP, if you are on the PEP and you are here in person, please stand when I read your name so we can recognize you. Appointments from the Office of the Chief Academic Officer. Recommended that Julima Alisea, currently Executive Director on assignment, be appointed Executive Director on assignment effective November 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026. Recommended that Scott Callahan, currently a facilitator, special education, Howard County Public Schools, be appointed coordinator, disproportionality and intervention, effective November 29th, 2025. Recommended that Lisa Don Moyer, currently manager, teaching and learning, be appointed coordinator, school improvement, effective November 15th, 2025. Recommended that Jen Brown-Whale, currently coordinator of elementary science at MSDE, be appointed educational specialist 2 science, effective November 15th, 2025. Recommended that Michael Pitter, currently school counselor at Seed School of Maryland, be appointed educational specialist 2 school counseling, effective November 29th, 2025. Recommended that April Turner, currently manager, psychological services and student support services at MSDE, be appointed coordinator, school psychologist, effective November 15th, 2025. And a reassignment, recommended that Rodney Wallace, currently educational specialist 2 safety conference, be appointed educational specialist 2 suspension services, effective November 15th, 2025. Congratulations to everyone on tonight's PEP agenda.
Great, thank you so much, Chief Nielsen. Now, continuing my remarks for this evening, this morning, the Maryland State Department of Education released the Maryland Report Card and School Star Ratings for 2025, which are based on multiple measures such as student achievement and growth, graduation rates, post-secondary readiness, chronic absence, school survey, and access to a well-rounded curriculum. I am pleased to report that city schools achieved a record number of high-performing schools. The percentage of schools earning 3, 4, or 5 stars rose to the highest rate in Baltimore City since the Maryland Report Card was initiated in 2018. In just 3 years, the proportion of highly rated schools has nearly doubled since the post-COVID decline in 2022. I would like to invite now our Chief Achievement and Accountability Officer, Teresa Jones, Chief of Academics, Dr. Joan Dabrowski, and Chief of Schools, Stacy Place-Jose, to come forward and give us the highlights.
Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, members of the public, and good evening to our 2026 Maryland Superintendent of the Year. All righty, Mr. Kennedy, if you could have your slides ready for presentation, that would be great. Awesome. Yep, and it disappeared. And we're back. So good evening. My name is Teresa Jones. I have the privilege of serving the district as the Chief Achievement and Accountability Officer, and I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves and we'll dive right in.
Good evening. I'm Joan Dabrowski, Chief Academic Officer. Good evening, Stacy Toze, Chief of Schools.
Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. So first, we want to begin with the highlights. So not only did we have a record number of high-performing schools, represented by the 49% of schools that were rated 3, 4, and 5, we also see that that is not only progress versus 2 years ago, so thinking about that pandemic level of 35%, but it's also an increase over the 46% that we produced last year. In addition to that, we have 25 schools that increased their star ratings. And then within that, we have 7 more schools that are now rated in those highest categories of performance. As we share tonight's highlights, we'll also talk a bit about the work that we have done that has contributed to the improvements that we're seeing in these following areas. These are some of the highlights that contributed the most to the improvement that we were seeing in these numbers. They include our elementary and middle English language arts and math proficiency as represented on our state assessment. We also take a look at the chronic absence improvements for our middle school. And then also when it comes to high school, it's exciting to see our on track in 9th grade for graduation measure, really showing measurable improvement. And then across the board for elementary, middle, and high school students, we saw improvements in our student survey results. Next slide, please. So by way of a reminder, we just want to make sure that the public understands that the Maryland Report Card ratings are not just numbers. They're intended to represent information that helps us understand how schools are performing. So what we've depicted here is this just gives you a visual for the information that's accessible on the Maryland Report Card website. It allows you to see how each of the school's ratings were determined. So when we talk about the different measures, it actually gives you more information about those measures in addition to the overall rating. And then it also gives you access to additional supporting reference material to better understand what that means in terms of a school's performance and how that might help you understand how various students are being served by a particular school. Next slide, please. So when it comes to the ratings, we're not going to get into a lot of technical details here this evening, but we did want to capture sort of the key point to know. So first and foremost, it is a 5-star rating system. It is determined based on the percentage of points earned relative to the number of points available. And when we talk about points available, it's based on the categories that you see listed on the left. So the two broad categories being academic and school quality and student success. And those measures actually are a bit different depending on which grade band we're looking at, but you'll see that it is intended to create a more holistic understanding of what a school's performance includes, which speaks to those climate indicators. It includes survey results. It includes not only state assessment results, but also differentiation at the high school level to look at things like graduation rate. I'll also note for those schools that have a large percentage of multilingual learners, there's also an English language proficiency measure. So another way to indicate how well a school is serving that population. Next slide, please. So in terms of our highlights, so this gives you the picture over time. So again, the rating system was introduced in 2018. You can see by way of the blue stars in that line that we are now at 49% relative to where we've been historically. The flip side of that is the 1 or 2 star schools. So that's why you sort of see a mirror image represented in this particular visualization. Again, just noting that there were 2 years that we did not have these report card ratings. So that's depicted by that little dotted blue line between 18-19 and 21-22. Next slide, please. When we look at where those 3, 4, and 5 schools are located, we're proud to note that that's represented across the city. So we use this map to be able to give a sense around how those schools are distributed. Again, we use the Community Conditions Index as one of the ways of understanding how a community or neighborhood has received investments over time. So those red areas are indicative of some of those lower investment communities. And what we're seeing here is that we have high performing schools in those communities as well as those with higher levels of investments historically. Next slide, please. When we talk about that 49%, we also want to call out that that's 70 schools. And so when we take a look at this particular comparison view, it allows you to see that over time, looking at the last 3 years, you continue to see more blue bars than you see on the orange side, right? And so what that shows is how that shift has happened. We also want to note that we are also at our highest level of our 4 and 5 stars as depicted here with the 15 that are represented by 2025. Next slide, please. So when it comes to schools that have improved their ratings, we have 25 of those as well. And so again, we're using a map here to sort of show where those are located across the city. And again, if we want to just note in some of the lower investment areas in red, that represents that 36% of those schools that have improved their ratings are actually located in those low investment communities. Next slide, please. So what I've just covered for you is sort of like the high level picture around what does it mean when we think at the overall ratings. The other things we wanted to share tonight is also what that means in terms of some of the specific measures. So when we think about academics and climate, we actually see that there are some areas where we have identified district-wide improvement across each grade band. So one of the things that we want to highlight this evening is if you take a look in the middle blue that also says middle, for the middle grade band, that 2.0 for not chronically absent is the highest level of improvement that we see year over year in terms of a measure. That shouldn't be too surprising as we've talked about the attendance work of the district and the improvements that we've seen in our student attendance over time. But you'll also note that there are academic measures that are represented across the board. So with our math and ELA proficiency, you see even with the multilingual learners making progress, and are on track in ninth grade for high school. Like all of those are areas to take note of because those are also indicative of the investments and the strategies that we've been implementing, actually demonstrating their impact by way of how the report card ratings represent that improvement. The other thing that we've noted here is that when we take a look at our Hispanic and Latino students, as well as our multilingual learners, we also see in some cases where they are showing even greater level of improvement year over year. So for example, here we noted in terms of the 3 points of improvement for not chronically absent for our Hispanic, Latino, and multilingual learners. And then when we look at our graduation rates, we actually saw that those improved more than a point for those student populations. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of a transition. So now that we've given you a bit of an overview around some of the key areas of improvement, my colleagues here will also talk a bit about some of the work that we've done to get the results that we just reviewed.
Thank you. So I get to talk about attendance. So our gains in attendance are a result of our district-wide strategy that brings schools, families, and partners together around daily attendance. We're building a culture where every day counts and strong attendance is celebrated. We're removing barriers by working side by side with schools, communities, and city partners to support families. And we're using data on a regular basis to spot challenges early and act before absences become patterns. This alignment is what's driving our progress, but we know that there is still work to be done. Next slide. So this slide shows some of the ways we're bringing our attendance strategies to life, from creative campaigns to community outreach and data-driven supports. These are examples of how our attendance teams, schools, and district partners are working together. So it's a reflection of what happens when everyone works together to make attendance a daily priority. And we also want to give our families a shout out for sending their students to school each and every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And also shout out to our district team, Lori Hines and Tanya Williams, who are supporting our school leaders, our community partners, and our city partners in this work.
All right, so I will get to share some of the bright spots in our ELA and our math improvements. I think the work that we have done in the time that Dr. Santelises has been our CEO is showing up in these results. And if we think about our work with high quality materials, both in math and ELA, we are reaping the benefits of that work and the seeds that have been planted over the last decade. We have done a tremendous job having identified priorities where we lean in to particular areas of literacy development, of mathematics. So you can see those there. Things like rhyming and phonics or understanding facts and fluency. These things matter, and that targeted prioritization is, again, something we've been leaning into. Certainly our use of writing, that has been an area of focus over the last few years. I want to just give a huge shout out to the special assistant, Jackie Giddens in the CAO office, alongside colleagues in the CI team, our continuous improvement team, Zach Jaffe and Amy Winchester, who've just done phenomenal work to bring writing into all of our content areas and to have this work showing up for our young people. And then we look again at the work we're doing to support professional learning, our early career teachers. We know that's an area in mathematics that we want to lean into and provide that support. That's been an area of focus. We've also been digging into opportunities to learn more about the importance of math fluency and algebra readiness. And again, those are early stage pilots, but I think we're going to continue to see that improve our math work as we move forward. And I do want to just do a shout out to our new ELA and math family guides. Again, these were done in partnership with the Office of Family Engagement, and a huge shout out to Heather Nolan, Vanessa Stone, and Shar Hollingsworth, who've done tremendous work to launch those guides. And again, just building that we are a community that does this work together for our young people. So again, I'm very proud of these ELA and math improvements. And if we go to the next slide, again, I think what's really wonderful to see in these report card results is the intentional support and improvements we've seen for our multilingual learners. and for our ninth graders. So when we think about our multilingual learners, I have to shout out our director there, Maria Remore, who's done tremendous work around the strategic work of using data platforms and assessments to guide our work with a level of finesse and strategic thinking, because we know that not every English learner involved in that English language development space is the same. And so the use of data to make sure we have very specific instructional plans has been part of her approach. Additional work she has done to lean into the writing so that our multilingual learners have intentional support on using that as a part of their literacy development. And we are excited that we now have school success liaisons focused on multilingual learners across all of our CLNs. We know that that is a growing population of young people. So having the supports for all of our CLNs has been another investment we've made. And then our ninth graders on track, I think as we've lifted up some of the great work Eric Jefferson, Michael Moss, Matthew Cottle have done in our on track work. That intentional identification of what we need to make sure is in place for a ninth grader to keep them on track, whether it's attendance, as our chief of schools just noted, whether it is what do we make sure that they're coming to school as their best selves, and so that we're minimizing discipline challenges. We're looking closely at grade books and making sure that they're turning in assignments. That level of just close proximate work for our ninth graders. We've got wonderful investments we've made. We have on track to graduate coordinators at every one of our high schools, and we train them centrally. We provide them supports for how to run effective ninth grade team meetings. We call those success teams or house teams, depending on the structure at the high school. But again, we don't leave it to chance. We are very intentional in that work. We've harnessed our student learning plans in high schools to use that to make sure our ninth graders know what they need in order to be able to be promoted on time. And again, the work on scheduling, making sure our ninth graders are in the right classes so that they're on track to be on-time 10th graders. So again, really excited by this data and just the collective efforts that many colleagues are doing across academics and schools to make this work happen.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank my colleagues for sharing some additional insight into what's contributed to the ratings you've seen this evening. I will invite you to learn more about these ratings and what this means for our schools. We have a few different resources that are hyperlinked here. So first and foremost, our City Schools website. So that is certainly a place where you can learn more about what we're doing, not just for the report card ratings, but just across the board with all the different data updates we provided over the year. And then, of course, the Maryland Report Card website. This is, again, another really important and useful resource for the public in particular. You can access those report cards. You can print those off. You can actually pull down data files for those of you that really want to dig more deeply. And this is information for all schools across the district. So it allows you to really get a lot of good access. As we wrap up this evening, I also just want to thank the leaders in our research team. So Dr. Christopher Wan, Mike Hall, Liepa Boberine, Aaron Searson, Brittany Thompson, like you name it. The whole team has really put all hands on deck. And not only understanding what this report card means, but really in working in partnership with our schools, our academic team, our continuous improvement team, to make sure that our schools really understand what's happening with the accountability system. The other thing that I will note here is that we are anticipating future changes. And so as much as we're celebrating the results this month, I will just give a preview to say that will be more information provided by MSDE as they are looking to make accountability changes. And as we get that information, we'll certainly be sharing that with the public as well, and sharing that information with our schools so that they will be able to be prepared as those transitions changes go into effect. So thank you again for your time this evening. And thank you, Dr. Santelises, for the opportunity to share this update during CEO comments.
Great. I just want to add my thanks to the team, not only for a thorough presentation, but for the real movement that we've seen in the cross-team collaboration. I know you all have worked incredibly hard on that, and want to thank you just for the work of helping schools understand these ratings, and really the marked improvement in the internalization of what it means to be a 3, 4, or 5 school, amongst schools, as you noted, in every section of the city. So this is not just one or two schools in zip codes people would expect to move. Actually, you see great movement in school ratings in what I would say some of the historically under-resourced or historically underperforming sections of the city. And I think that's in large part to the leadership of the three women sitting in front of me. So I want to thank you for that work. And I will just say that earlier this year, we announced the implementation of a multi-year security hardware initiative to increase safety in our school buildings by upgrading doors, locks, and frames in older campuses to ensure staff can more effectively secure classrooms and office spaces in emergencies. Unfortunately, we subsequently experienced projected cuts to our funding that we did not anticipate. First, in March, we learned that the U.S. Department of Education planned to reduce the funding we had been awarded under ESSER by approximately $50 million. Later, we experienced a similar threat to Title I dollars. As a result, or title dollars, period, not even just Title I. As a result of those unexpected financial challenges, we announced that we would pause our plan to put locks on classroom doors. While we were ultimately able to receive those threatened funds, the financial outlook for Maryland and city schools is still concerning. However, realizing the importance of security for our staff and students, tonight, I am announcing that we will restart our commitment to security in schools. In the interest of fiscal responsibility, yes, go ahead. In the interest of fiscal responsibility, we have adjusted the rollout of the project plan to better align with available funding and installation capacity. This school year, the operations team will begin design of the intruder lock hardware projects, beginning at 18 high schools located in 14 buildings. These upgrades will equip classrooms, media centers, auditoriums, cafeterias, and gymnasiums with enhanced locking mechanisms that allow doors to be locked from the inside, addressing a critical need. Future phases, including kindergarten through grade 8 and traditional middle schools, will be scheduled later, contingent upon funding availability and contractor resources. Please note that schools that have recently undergone modernization through the 21st Century Schools Building Program or have existing security hardware are not included in this upgrade. We will post a list of the high schools that will be part of this first phase on our website. I also want to acknowledge and give a big thank you to our partners and advocates with the Baltimore Teachers Union who worked with us on this initiative, who worked with bringing it to the forefront and the partnership of getting this important initiative started. So thank you to our BTU colleagues. And then finally, in my concluding remarks for this evening, I want to give a special shout out to Baltimore Polytechnic High School, who was awarded this morning at the Maryland State Department of Education, the Maryland Blue Ribbon Award. And I want to give a special thank you to Dr. Carrie Wright for her leadership. What happened was Baltimore Polytechnic, along with, I believe, 5 other schools in Maryland, either parochial or public schools throughout Maryland, had received kind of private notification that they were going to be awarded the National Blue Ribbon. Subsequent changes at the federal level and in the Department of Education put that recognition that is hard won, is the result of years of work on hold. And our state superintendent, Dr. Carrie Wright, because she is a schools person, understood the importance of the blue ribbon. And so in collaboration with the board chair and the governor, actually launched the blue ribbon for the State of Maryland Awards that closely reflects. And so we were thrilled to have Baltimore Polytechnic recognize today. That school community is giving a big shout, as they should. I want to thank Chief High Cupboard for being present there as well. And we all got to love on our Baltimore City Schools Blue Ribbon awardee this year. And so with that, that concludes my remarks for this evening, and I turn it back to you, Board Chair.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for all of the lifting up all the good news here in Baltimore City. I want to thank all of our educators in our classrooms and our schools, no matter where we are in our blue and our stars, recognizing that there's a lot of hard work. So from our teachers to our PSRPs to you name it, our parents, our students, all contribute to the success of our young people. So appreciate everything you've lifted up in your comments this evening. I'll now review the consent agenda. Board colleagues, please let me know if you would like an item removed and state your question for staff. Item 15.01, the TCA Architects LLC CTE renovations at Edmondson Westside High School. It's a contract increase. Item 15.02, elevator maintenance and repair services. Excuse me, item 15.03, the sprinkler system repair and maintenance services. Item 15.04, design collective. Item 15.05, HD Supply, incorporated cleaning supplies, equipment, and custodial related product services and solutions. Item 19.01, the Mayor and City Council of Baltimore Success Academy West lease agreement. Hearing no items pulled, I will now turn it over to the Vice Chair for public comment.
All right, we will now move into public comment. Public comment is shared by our district recognized groups and the general public. Representatives from our recognized groups will have the opportunity to share public comment first for 5 minutes each. Afterwards, the general public may share. First, we're going to bring up Ms. Sheila Billups from CCAC, Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee.
Good evening, commissioners, Dr. Santelises, and those virtual and those that's in the room. I bring you greetings from CCAT, Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee. I am the chairperson. I don't know if I spoke to you about this, but our meeting for November will be the overview of the 504 plan. And then we're going to meet with the Department of Transportation. During this time of the year, there are usually a lot of things happening with transportation, so we bring them early, so hopefully we can handle those challenges with transportation services. I was looking over this description for the CEO. Very interested in the skills and experiences. I realize there's nothing there about understanding and knowing about special education. It might be in there, but it's not in there. It's not saying it. So I know you have already probably solidified this, but we might need to want to look at it again to make sure that special education is included in the experiences or the skill set. Does it make sense? Also, I was reading something about the superintendents and the CEOs of the state of Maryland. How much do they need to know about special education and handling that role? Just a question. If you're going to handle all children, students in Baltimore City, how much do you know about special education and those with disabilities? To be a good CEO or superintendent in this city, it's imperative that we go and revisit that and make sure that it's included. Also, the last time I was here, I got a little disgruntled about something that had happened from one of the people who had spoke prior to me about special education and what they considered it. This particular group has never, in the last 4 or 5 years, had a conversation with me. And for them to speak up about us, I was concerned. So that group know who they are, and we are supposed to meet this week on November 6th, and maybe we can clarify how they can speak about special education when they've never even talked to the CCAT chair or been to any of the meetings. That's it for tonight. Short but sweet.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
You all have a great evening.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to bring up Courtney Witherspoon, representing the Associated Student Congress for Baltimore City. It's a video? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Witherspoon. I'm delighted to deliver this month's testimony for ASCBC. First off, the General Assembly is right around the corner, and all the schools have already submitted, and the presenters are getting ready. This event is November 17th, and again, we would love to have members join for this event. We're truly excited. It's going to be a great opportunity for everyone to come together, share ideas, and make some real progress in our city. Next, for the Communications Committee. We've been more focused on this year on outreach towards everyone in our city, so the Communications Committee will be working through Instagram to keep students in the loop about committees and what else is going on across ASCBC. We've also been working to make our committees more visible and engaging to people across Baltimore. And here's the thing, we want more people involved. So to our board members and students, come check out what we're doing in our Legislative Affairs Committee. We would love to have members join for a meeting where we talk and share some ideas on how to build the strongest foundation as we grow together. We're all trying to build something stronger here, because the more we connect, the better we get. Finally, to the school board, thank you again. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and I can't wait to see us grow together in this community. Thanks for listening, and thanks for supporting what we do. We'll see you soon, and we'll definitely see you at this year's General Assembly.
Next, we will have Jocelyn Providence, representing the Baltimore Teachers Union. This is video as well. Thank you. It'll be a video.
Good evening. My name is Jocelyn Providence, and I'm a high school math teacher in Baltimore City. And today I will be giving public comment on behalf of the Baltimore Teachers Union. The topics that I plan to address are data migration from employee self-service to Oracle, open enrollment, and letters of concern from human capital. The most recent inside scoop sent from BCPSS Communications, the last section of the top stories has information about how to download our personal data from BCPSS, changes from the employee self-services platform to the new Oracle platform that will launch on Saturday, December 13th. In that information, it also says for staff to please ensure you download any records you wish to keep, such as job work information, employee PTO, leave balances and usage, pay stubs. Some also other recommended things are annual reports, completed appraisal forms as well. This is helpful information. However, leaving more than 10,000, 12,000 people to appropriately download this very important information without an opportunity for direct support seems a little careless, in my opinion. There are nearly 13,000 people who use the employee self-service platform, from teachers and PSRPs to custodial staff, administration, and even school police. Emails are a start, but human capital really needs to do more to broadcast and provide more support for the data migration process and how to correctly download their information from employee self-service. Our request is for human capital to provide at least 5 sessions at schools in North Avenue for staff to come and get support with downloading their data. The hours for these sessions should also vary in day of the week and time for the day to accommodate the large group of people that fulfill many very differing and important roles in Baltimore City Public Schools. 1 week prior to the Saturday, January 31st, when employee self-service is supposed to go away. This will ensure that all BCPSS employees, no matter their position, work hours, or work sites, will be able to have an opportunity to access more direct support for downloading vital information related to our jobs and can affect future employment like certification. Also, speaking of providing more time and support, moving forward, BCPSS needs to extend the open enrollment period. We would have hoped that with everything going on with the government shutdown and the fight out over healthcare costs, that more grace and support and time would have been provided. 10 work days and 2 weekends totaling 12 days is a completely inadequate amount of time and harms employees. BCPSS could open the open enrollment period 1 weekend early and close it at the end of the 3rd weekend, which would extend the open enrollment period by 4 days of no consequence, because 2 extra weekends does not require any additional work or resources by BCPSS. Ideally, we would get weeks longer because healthcare decisions are very important, personal, and life-changing decisions for people to make, but opening on a Monday and closing on a Friday is unacceptable. My personal experience of the process for the past couple of years is attending the second in-person support sessions, very helpful, that almost always happens the last week of Q1. And right before the November 1st letter of college recommendation deadlines that I'm happy to write for many of my students. Then after finding out more information at the fair, that is very helpful, I talk about it with my husband and we determine what is the best plan for our family. For me personally, that additional weekend would make a huge difference because it would allow me and my family to make a conscious choice rather than a rushed choice because of the busyness of all the other deadlines that happen during the same time of every year. Next, there have been many BTU members that have shared frustrations about getting letters of concern about not completing the district compliance video training. The frustration comes from BTU members expressing that they have completed the training and that the system did not record it, that they completed it, or it has not been updated. The district should not be doing disciplinary actions or sending threatening communications about a system that is not functioning at the correct capacity and had a poor rollout plan. Also, we do not believe that employees have been given enough time to complete the many hours required to do these trainings during work hours. And there continues to be more vital trainings that are being added on without a communicated solution and designated time to complete them during our work hours. This is an issue that needs to be fixed with an appropriate solution and communicated to all staff members who are being told that they are required to complete the virtual trainings. Finally, I want to end on a positive note that I think the district is moving in a more appropriate direction with giving staff members time during our work hours to make sure that we are adhering to the end of quarter grading deadlines with an early release. I think that there still needs to be more communication, that teachers focus that early release time directed towards grades and completing them prior to the quarter deadline and not being directed to completing other tasks. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you. Next, we will have a video as well by Deontay Ryan, representing the Parent and Community Advisory Board.
Good evening, Chair Sally, Vice Chair Parker, esteemed Board of Commissioners, Dr. Santelises, and members of the community. My name is Dr. Dante Ryan, and I serve as the Teaching and Learning Committee Chair of the Parent and Community Advisory Board, otherwise known as PCAB for Baltimore City Public Schools. I'm a proud alumnus, parent, and community partner of City Schools. PCAB was established by Maryland law to ensure that parents and the community have a direct voice in shaping the future of Baltimore City Public Schools. Our purpose is to advise the CEO and this board on how families, educators, and community partners can collaborate to help our students succeed. On behalf of our members, I thank you for the opportunity to provide updates and to give a public statement during this meeting. In this current economic climate, we are seeing cuts to higher education budgets, reductions in workforce, and increases in costs for consumer staples. Now more than ever is a great time to strengthen our CTE programs to ensure that our students are equipped with the foundation, confidence, and skills needed to successfully obtain and sustain a career in their respective fields. One of the best ways to do this is to incorporate an apprenticeship co-op and internship component to the CTE programs that will allow students to gain real work experiences, get a better understanding of the day-to-day tasks associated with their trade, and grow in their confidence while being supervised by an experienced tradesman. Furthermore, it gives students an opportunity to monetize their skills. To accomplish this, it is important that the next CEO of City Schools has a favorable opinion regarding the benefits of CTE programs, as well as have the willingness to engage the business community to establish these partnerships. By fostering collaborative relationships, City Schools can create a pipeline of opportunities that not only benefit our students, but also support the economic growth and resiliency of our city. Let's work together to ensure that every student in Baltimore City Public Schools has access to the resources, mentorship, and hands-on experiences necessary to thrive in today's workforce and contribute meaningfully to our city's success. In closing, I would like to provide a few updates regarding the past and future activities of PCAB. During the month of October, we participated in the Community School Coordinator meeting at PDC, the City Schools Back to School Skate Night at Shake and Bake, and the literacy-themed family night at Walter P. Carter. For this upcoming month, our committee meetings are as follows. The Family and Community Engagement Committee will be meeting on November 11th at 1:15 p.m. Our Teacher and Learning Committee will be meeting on November 11th at 7:30 p.m. Our Policy Committee will be meeting on December 1st at 6 p.m. Finally, we are excited to share that we are hosting our special public meeting on November 20th at 6:30 p.m. when Dr. Santelises will be our special guest, and it will be live streamed on YouTube. We invite all families, educators, and community members to join us. Additional details for our meetings can be found on PCAB's website, www.pcabbaltimore.org. We thank you for your time and have a great evening.
All right, it was great to hear from our recognized groups. I will now turn it over to the board office for more public comment.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. The first is a video pre-recorded. Topic is student success, and we don't want to mess up the person's names, but I believe it's Ashani Kanja Sen.
Hello, my name is Ishani. I go to Baltimore City College, and I'm in the 10th grade. And last year in 9th grade, I struggled a lot with math, and I was doing really poorly in math class. But my school has a math and science center, which offers additional support to the students. And because I went to that science and math center, I was able to actually revise my final project for the class and get the grade that I needed in order to boost my GPA. And I don't think if I didn't have that resource, I would be able to get the grade that I had or even excel in math class and be in the class that I'm in now. Which is why when I heard that that program was specific to only my school, I realized how unfair that was and how other students needed that same opportunity and how it could help them excel as well. Which is why I think we should have this program for high school to elementary school students in Baltimore City because I believe it can really help them. Now, what we're asking for is funding for a support person, just like in my school, how we had one person who helped. A facility in order to do this. This can be used in the facility like the library or an empty classroom, and also extra support for the janitorial staff or any extra staff that will still be in the building when this takes place. Because it can be after school, it can be also during school hours or a mixture of both depending on the school's needs. The main reason why I really want this program to happen is because I want to help other students and want to make sure that they have everything they need to learn. And that's all. Thank you.
Next is another pre-recorded video on peer tutoring from Sienna Hughes.
Hello. My name is Sienna Hughes, and I'm an 8th grader at Roland Park Elementary Middle School. At the beginning of this year, I struggled to learn material in science class. I went to coach class to try and receive help from the teacher, but she couldn't focus on giving me all the help I needed because she had 15 other kids at coach class to help. In this teacher's class, she had assigned jobs, one of which being the class tutor. She picked high-performing kids who understood the material for this position. The next week, I met up with the tutor, Sasha, during my science teacher's coach class. She taught me the work and made practice problems. She was even able to answer my questions that the teacher couldn't because she had the same questions at first. In 20 minutes, I was able to learn something that seemed impossible to me from another student. Every student should be able to have this option, which is why I would like for the school board to take this idea and make it into something bigger, something school-wide. Imagine if there was a program that allowed students to meet in the library or any areas after school on certain days and receive help from other students. There would be a paid facilitator to manage, control, and oversee everything, but this program would still be student-led. For students to be eligible to be a tutor, they have to be passing and excelling in all classes, which means B's or higher. And they will have to take many tests from their facilitators. The tests will ensure that they know basic material and can teach other kids. The tutors will receive service learning hours, which they need in order to graduate. It's a win-win for everyone. This program will help kids learn leadership, communication, and teamwork.
The next is testimony to be read on peer tutoring from Ave Simone Carter. Hello, my name is Ave Simone Carter, and I'm in 6th grade at Roland Park. I want to address the fact that often in schools, there is nowhere to go if you would like to receive help in any of your classes. I'm in the Ingenuity Project, and while at my school they have somewhere you can go if you want to retake a test, there is nowhere you can go for actual help outside of regular learning time. This is a problem at many other schools in the city. That's why I propose a student-led tutoring program for elementary to high school students. It would be a space where students would help other students in subjects they might struggle with. The tutors would have to understand and excel at the concepts that they would help other students in, and would have to go through a training session to be able to tutor. For participating in the program, the tutors could receive service learning hours. We know there would also have to be someone to oversee the program, but this program already exists at City College High School. And because of its impact, I hope we can do the same in other schools. Thank you for considering. Next, we have speaking in person, Dawn Henriquez. Dawn, I hope I didn't mess up your last name. Please correct me.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Dawn Enriquez. I'm a special education teacher in Baltimore City Schools, and I'm here to advocate for extending healthcare benefit enrollment decision period for Baltimore City public school teachers beyond the current 12-day window. I'm aware that what I'm asking for tonight cannot be acted upon this year. 4 years from now, Baltimore City Teachers Union have been advocating for an extended open period for benefits. The district has refused. We're currently only given 12 days for open enrollment. It's open on a Monday and closes on a Friday. It includes 10 work days and 2 weekend days. This is not enough time for workers in general, but especially not for time for educators who do not have time during the working day to review benefits. Commissioners of the board, I have a question for you. How long does your open enrollment period how long is it for you and your employers? I'm asking if it's a significantly longer time than the 10 work days and 1 weekend that we currently have. Working educators deserve time to make informed decisions. During these 12 days, we must compare plans, verify physicians, calculate costs, review prescriptions, consult family members, and seek to find out if we need to advocate with our benefit counselors as well. The open enrollment decision periods fall during active teaching weeks, during educators managing full classrooms, grading assignments, preparing lessons, attending meetings, and fulfilling countless other responsibilities. The financial stakes are enormous. The wrong healthcare choice can cost a family thousands of dollars annually. For educators already managing student loan debt and modest salaries, a hasty decision that can be made under time pressure can create a genuine financial hardship. Professionals, adults working, having very hard lives and working with very few minutes count. City schools have the shortest open enrollment window, and that we're aware of among all the districts within the state of Maryland. Such a short window means that a great chance of an enrollment process intersecting with unpredictable events such as illness, families, emergencies, and spouses can be out of town. Even having materials available for the district website before the enrollment would allow staff to have additional time to review options. This is not the current practice. Another easy fix would include the 2 weekends on either side of the 10-day window open enrollment, providing for additional 4 weekend days. We know that human capitals can do this, and we hope that the board will push them to consider it. To summarize, I respectfully request that the board extend the healthcare benefit enrollments decision period to a minimum of 21 days. If not, we ask that the board direct human capital and its benefits team to do the following. 1, to provide open enrollment materials to BCPS's website 1 month in advance to open enrollment, and 2, to add 2 weekends to extend the work week's extended period by an additional 4 days. Extending this timeline costs nothing and demonstrates everything in how we evaluate our professionals educating Baltimore's children. I urge you to adopt this common sense policy change. Thank you for your time and consideration.
The next speaker is a video link, Glynis Urquhart.
Hi, my name is Glynis Urquhart, and I just wanted to take a moment out to speak on something that's near and dear to my heart. Support for early career teachers with the certification exams. As someone who has spent thousands of dollars on these exams, I know how overwhelming it can feel. Not because we don't want to meet the standards, but because the process is expensive, stressful, and time-consuming. Many of us are on a conditional license because we love this work and our amazing children of Baltimore City. But we're stretched thin trying to study, pay fees, and give our all to our students. It will make a huge difference if Baltimore City offered free or discounted test prep classes or vouchers for online materials. These small steps could help ease the burden and help passionate teachers reach full certification without emptying their wallets. When teachers feel supported, our students benefit the most. Thank you for listening and for considering ways to make the path to certification more supportive, equitable, and sustainable for those of us who are committed to our great students of Baltimore City. Thanks again.
And our last speaker tonight is commenting in person on centrally run budget, Wendy Bozell.
Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to speak again. I just want to thank you. I was at the last meeting and talked about attendance, and I wrote up all my ideas because it's such a passion for me. And I want to thank you because I got a response back, and now I'm going to be helping on the attendance committee. I'm so happy that my ideas got heard. So I thought I'd give some more ideas that I have. So anyway, first I also want to recognize that Dr. Sandalisa also won a national recognition as being the, I hope I say this right, the superintendent in residence at the Broad Center at Yale School. And I think that's pretty amazing because that's a national recognition. So thank you for that. And all right, so let me just tell my story real quick. I was a Baltimore County teacher, but my mom was a Baltimore City at Dallas F. Nichols. That I'm just happy that they got some money. So she was a teacher there for 15 years and then volunteered for another 15 years. She couldn't like leave. But anyway, I was teaching in Baltimore City and she goes, Wendy, you can't teach in Baltimore City anymore. You need to go where the kids really need you. Go to Baltimore City. So I'm like, okay, so I went from Baltimore County to Baltimore City. I'm like, okay, Mom. So when I was at my school, I like didn't realize all these things that were just, I couldn't understand why it happened this way. I had no heat at my school for 3 years. Then when I first went to my classroom, the overhead projector was broken and I was told, well, that won't be fixed. This light bulb was broken and we used that money for something else. Then I was given a 25-year-old laptop, that didn't work. And I was told, well, I guess you have to buy your own because it's not in the budget. And every time I asked for things, I was always told it wasn't in the budget. So I started to do more research, like are things budgeting? How come every time I ask for something for the principal, that's not in the budget? When I was in Baltimore County, if I needed my overhead fixed, I'd call the overhead department. If I needed math materials, I called the math department and I got these things within a week or two. In Baltimore City, I was just told, well, I guess you'll buy it yourself or, it's not in the budget. And I thought that was crazy. So I really looked into it. And then what I found out was that our school system is not centrally run, that each principal is given $15-20 million. And then they have to figure out how to budget that, but they're not CFOs. So I really feel like we could run our school systems better if they were run centrally. Centralized budget also promotes standard curriculum and instruction district-wide and increases buying power when districts negotiate large contracts with vendors and more free time for school leaders to spend time with students and staff affairs rather than finance and operations. And I just hope that when we move forward, if we could just look into ways that we could centralize our budgets, I think it would have a better outcome on our schools. And then teachers will not hear it's not in the budget. Thank you.
So much. So based on public comment, are there any, actually, I want to take a moment to thank each and every respondent this evening. I really appreciate the comment around response. Response is really important to us as a board and want to make sure that all of our colleagues, whether they're recognized groups, people who write in, do videos, receive a response from the board in terms of those public comments, just an acknowledgement and the next step. So thank you so much for the comments this evening and for everybody. Based on public comment, are there any additional items board members would like to pull from the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Esposito. Thank you. I'll take Commissioner Slater-Harrington and Esposito on the second. All in favor, Vice Chair Parker?
Yes.
Commissioner Messenger? Thank you, Commissioner Chicas Guzman. I think was going to try to.
Yep.
Awesome. Great. We got you. Cool. Commissioner Esposito?
Yes.
Commissioner Kenyatta Bay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mohammed?
Yes.
Commissioner Redding Lollinger?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott Woodruff?
Yeah.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Slater-Harrington?
Yeah.
And I'm in favor. This motion passes. We will now hear a presentation and update to board procedures BLC, procedures and appeals and hearings for first reader this evening. We've Office of Legal Counsel.
Hi, Josh Sivan, Chief Legal Officer. I will turn us over to Caitlin Barnes, who's a assistant counsel in our office and has been working on this in conjunction with the board office.
Good evening, everyone. While our slides are coming up, I'm Caitlin. I'm in the Office of Legal Counsel, and I'm here to talk about the proposed revisions to Board Policy BLC, which is our policy about student discipline appeals. The slides are still not up. There we go. Okay, so this, you can go ahead and move to the next slide. So this policy relates to board priorities 4 and 7, which are about effectively engaging all stakeholders and working towards equity at all levels. On the next slide, we have a little bit about what Board BLC currently addresses, which is it provides the procedures for appeals of extended suspensions and expulsions. And I'm naming those types of student disciplines specifically because Maryland law has particular requirements for appealing those types of discipline. City Schools does have procedures for appealing other types of suspensions. So in-school suspensions, short-term suspensions, but those are addressed in a different policy, and specifically they're in Administrative Regulation, JKARB. So BLC talks about how to file and withdraw appeals. It discusses the hearings themselves and the hearing officers. It talks about the witnesses and the evidence that can be presented at hearings, and it discusses the board decisions that the board has to issue after getting a recommendation from a hearing officer. And then I included a little bit of data about the appeals that we get under this policy. So City Schools tracks data related to student discipline, including suspensions and expulsions. There's a compliance report that's presented every year to the board. There's also other data points like the civil rights data collection from the U.S. Department of Education. And similarly, we also track data related to student discipline appeals. So there is a BLC compliance report, and the most recent one is from the 23-24 school year, and that year there were 7 appeals filed under this policy. So on the next slide, we get into why we are opening this policy for revision. And the main reason is that we need to update Board Policy BLC to align with the recent revisions that were made to Board Policy JKA. JKA is the policy about behavioral interventions and student discipline. So in the box on the left, you can see that now in JKA, we have language about appeals of extended suspensions and expulsions. We say that the Office of Student Conduct and Attendance issues a final decision letter, and that letter includes the right to appeal and the actual BLC appeal form. We also have language that makes clear that the Director of Student Conduct and Attendance closely monitors this extended suspension and expulsion process and the outcome of all those suspension conferences. But in the box on the right, this is what we currently have in BLC, and you can see that it does not match what we say about these types of appeals in JKA. In BLC right now, we say that a director of suspension services will mail a letter affirming or denying the suspension or expulsion within 72 hours of the conference. And so we really want to just make sure that both of these policies are saying the same thing about the same topic. Next slide, please. So getting into the proposed revisions specifically, in the category of making sure that BLC aligns with JKA, we are proposing updated definitions of expulsion, extended suspension, and parent/guardian. These definitions will align with how we define those terms in JKA. And then, as I just explained, we're updating the explanation of how and when parents, guardians, and students are notified of their right to appeal. Next slide. While BLC is open for revision, we're also proposing a few other edits. The first is that we have added language regarding the page length for the written memos that can be submitted before or after a hearing. So we've put in a page length of maximum 10 pages, and this would apply both to the person bringing the appeal and also to City Schools. So it applies equally to both parties. We've also added a deadline for submitting a pre-hearing written memo, which is at least 2 days before the hearing. And again, that would apply to both parties. And then on the appeal form itself, we have added a request that the parent, guardian, or student actually attach that final decision letter that they are appealing. And that is actually to help streamline the process of scheduling the hearings, because that final decision letter has the date of the decision, and it helps with the deadline in terms of making sure that we're adhering to the date requirements. And then on the next slide, we are also suggesting a few technical edits. These include standardizing how we are referring to the Maryland Code and other board policies. We also, it is of course important to make sure that all of our policies are accessible to the community, but this one we think is especially important because it has to do with the right of parents, guardians, and students to bring these appeals. And so whenever possible, we've just tried to streamline the language to make this document more accessible and easier for everyone to understand. And then finally, we have also clarified that a parent, guardian, or student's appeal also serves as their request for a hearing. And this matches what we've been doing in practice. So whenever someone files an appeal, that automatically triggers scheduling a hearing and getting that on the books. But there was some language in BLC that could have been interpreted as like suggesting that there was an extra step of requesting a hearing. And so we just wanted to make that super clear and say, if you file an appeal, you are getting a hearing. So on the next slide, we have some information about the stakeholder engagement for this policy. This is a tier 1 policy, which means that we're making minor updates, technical changes, or changes required by law. We have posted the revisions on the City Schools website for public feedback. We have not received any so far. And we have also shared the proposed revisions with all of the stakeholder groups, that are listed on this slide. We have not received any written feedback from any of these groups, but we do have 2 presentations scheduled with these groups. So we're meeting with the Equity Advisory Committee tomorrow, and then we're meeting with PCAB the day after that. And so we could be getting some feedback to incorporate based on those sessions. And then finally, we just have the timeline for this policy. We went to policy committee at the end of September. We're here for first reader, and then this goes back for second reader on December 16th. So that is all I have about BLC. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. I appreciate it. Board colleagues, are there any questions or comments? Commissioner Slater.
I'll just say thank you for making sure that it's accessible to those who are most impacted by it. Do we generally have a readability level for policies? Or is it written on a generally 6th grade reading level? I think it's kind of a standard. Yeah. I know that's obscure.
No. I mean, I think that's a good question. As far as I know, we don't do any like specific, I guess, testing of the readability level, but as we've been going through and revising, it's something that we've been trying to take into account, just like getting rid of confusing wording or any legalese and just trying to make it, so that, a community member could pick it up and it would make sense.
And as lawyers, we'll take all feedback on too much legalese, but we're trying.
Any additional comments this evening? One, I had just a quick comment. Were you able to talk to the ombudsman and receive any feedback from her in terms of strengthening this policy?
So we talked with the board office and got their feedback incorporated, and they actually had tweaks on the form itself. But we have not talked to the CEO ombudsman, so that's a good flag that we could incorporate for second reader.
But the office is more generally involved, but we will also follow up with her as well.
Be interested to know the feedback that you get. Thank you so much. Hearing no additional comment, well, thank you so much for your participation this evening, and we look forward to second reader. Thank you. As we move towards the end of our agenda this evening, I'd like to invite board colleagues for board committee reports. Let me start with Commissioner Esposito for policy. Did you have one on October 28th? Oh, well, if you have anything that you want to lift up, I'm happy to take that. Okay, so nothing for policy, that's okay. Operations is not here this evening. As we move towards the end, do you want to do? I can do. Upcoming meetings. So teaching and learning will be held on November 11th, 2025, for a virtual meeting from 3:30 to 5:30. Our special board meeting will occur on November 12th, 2025. So this will specifically be looking at our portfolio recommendations. I encourage the public to log on. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30. Safety and wholeness will be held at Dorothy I. Height on Tuesday, November 13th. Excuse me. When that might be, is that Wednesday, November 13th? Thursday, November 13th. Our operations committee will next be held on November 24th, 2025 for a virtual meeting, and policy will be held again on November 24th, 2025. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Oh, actually, before I close, is there any additional things before we close? There's a lot going on.
We trying to get out of here, which I understand. I just wanted to make sure that everyone in the room knows that we are not meeting on the 18th. That's a usual board meeting day. Of course, it's not listed, but you all always come the first and the third Tuesday. So I want go to dinner. I want to make sure you all have a good something to do that day. But I just wanted to make sure that, you know, we publicly just shared and that people will know we will not meet on the 18th.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as we move into December, we'll have a couple of other changes and shifts to the calendar. We'll make sure that the public is fully aware of that. Now, is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, thank you, Commissioner Slater-Harrington, twice. Is there a second?
So move.
Thank you. I'll take Vice Chair Parker. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much for adjourning. Appreciate everybody's participation.